This is a 3.473 gram piece of aquamarine. And often when you're purchasing rough from rough dealers or the miners, the price is discussed per gram, not per carat. When you're discussing a cut stone with a customer, prices are discussed per carat. So you need to know that 1 gram equals 5 carats. So this 3.473 gram piece of gemstone rough is 17.365 carats. And right now, at least at the time of this video, it's a bit difficult to find good color blue and clean aquamarine on the market, as the supply chain has been disrupted by the coronavirus. Fortunately, I have a good supply of aquamarine in my inventory. The mission from BOPIE, my wife, is to cut an emerald or rectangular shaped aquamarine for her. The shape of the stone fits an emerald cut, but there is a piece at the end that needs to be trimmed off. I'll trim that piece and save it for another stone. I will be using a design that is available to everyone online from facetdiagrams.org. As a reminder or a tip, when you're searching facetdiagrams.org, always check the box "Only show open designs." Otherwise, you'll get the designs where the design owner has not released the cutting instructions to the general public. And I also put results per page. I changed that to 1,000, so I kind of get them all the designs at once of the shape I'm looking for. But that's up to you. And this is the design that I'll be cutting today. Ideal Emerald 133 barrel, and this design was created by Stephen Weintraub Jr., and I'm pretty sure it's the first design from him that I have cut. But it looks like what BOPIE is asking for, so I'll give it a try. When I dop a stone, I start with an extra large dop that almost touches the edges of the rough stone. This ensures that I'll have the stone centered, and then I switch to a smaller dop. And now that we've got the stone centered with the larger dop, we replace it with the smaller dop, and it's centered on the stone, which would be more difficult if you only use this smaller dop. So that's why you start out with a larger dop. So now we just add our super glue. Make sure we've got super glue on both the dop and the stone. And I use the Loctite 404, and I keep it in the refrigerator. And I write the date on it so that after a year I throw it away. That's what they told me to do. The other fasteners who've much more experience than me. Okay, we want to start pre-forming our emerald cut. We want the longest side to be at, when we cut the girdle at 90 degrees, so we set our angle indicator to 90 degrees, and then we're using a not keyed dop. It rotates in this spindle, and what we want is to put one of the longest side on the lap at 90 degrees at a 96 tooth of the index. So that's where we want to make our first preforming. So move our arm down till the stone is touching the lap. And I'm going to use a 360 at first. I don't think I need it very long, but to start with I'll use a 360. So we'll use our set screw to lock our stone in at that angle. Put our sponge in so water doesn't go everywhere. Put our drip tank down and rotate counterclockwise, and we're ready to make our first preforming. Okay, I finished pre-polishing our pavilion of the aquamarine, using 3000 grit diamond on a bat lap. So the next step is to do the polish, and I'll use the dark side lap with for our aquamarine. I'll use cerium oxide, but I wanted to show you kind of a trick. It's unique to emerald step cuts or rectangular step cuts. Only step cuts will work, but sometimes you'll have an inclusion on one end of your stone, and this stone has no more inclusion, but I had a little problem on one side. Okay, it can be either one of the long short sides or one of the long sides. It can be either one, doesn't matter. You want to grind that inclusion off. You do not have to grind one half and then flip the stone over and grind the other half, which will of course make this stone a lot smaller as you're cutting off this side, which doesn't need any more trimmed off because there's an inclusion here that you're trimming. So you don't need to trim or grind both sides. It won't mess you up as long as it's step cuts. And let me show you. So I had to do more cutting on this side than this side. So if you look right here, I'm at 90. You can see, because if I go any lower, it starts going up. So this side is flush with the lap. Now, the opposite of the 72 side is the 24. So if I turn my index to the 24 gear, I am at 90/32. So that 32.32, however much weight or size that ends up being, did not need to be ground off, and I didn't grind it off. So I saved a little bit of size in my stone by doing that. Now, let me raise it up. A little bit of extra length in the stone. Now, what I had to do is I could work both sides with the same angle, same index, but the short sides I had to work individually. So I would work the long sides, and then each short side I would work up and make sure that the step cut from the side, the long side, the line married up, and then I worked the other side. So it takes another step. You have to work one side, both these sides separately, whereas you work these both at the same time. So, and when I transfer it, I'll have the same problem. Have to work them both separately, except I can simply take the stone off the dop and recenter it on a new dop, and then I'm back to normal, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to remove the adhesive from this stone and recenter the stone to cut the crown. But I did want to show you that it's unique to step cuts. Step cuts have a lot more forgiving and a lot of tricks you can learn that don't exist with meat points. So now I'm going to polish the pavilion. Coming along nicely. I finished polishing everything except for the table, which we'll do next. I used the dark side lap from Gearloose with cerium oxide and a little bit of Brother Zachary snake fluid and a slow drip of water. The dark side's come along nicely so far, and I'll take this stone out of the quill and set it up to grind down the table and then polish it. Finished polishing the table on our Aquamarine, and I'll take it out of the our Ultratech and put it in acetone, and we'll get it off the dop and weigh it and measure it and send it off to BOPIE. This design, Ideal Emerald 133 barrel, is easy to cut. For a new cutter, I would recommend the first stone you cut be a standard round brilliant, but the second or third stone you cut could or should be a step cut, emerald cut, or rectangular design just like this. A step cut or emerald or rectangular shape gives the cutter a lot of flexibility, as you saw earlier when I needed to cut out an inclusion on one side of the stone. I didn't have to cut both sides of the stone as I would have had to do with a brilliant type cut. It's another reason new cutters need to gain some experience with step cuts as well as all types of cuts. Aquamarine, a part of the barrel family, is easy to cut and polish. I had no problems using my new dark side lap from Gear Loose with cerium oxide to polish our Aquamarine. And the key to a good, quick polish is to not skip the pre-polish step. A good pre-polish ensures a good polish. And I pre-polished this stone with a 3000 grit diamond on a bat lap. Overall, this was an easy stone to cut and polish. Happy fastening, everyone.